I often warn about the deception and the illusion, the hypocrisy, the theater that's being put on by the right wing, quote unquote, conservative side of things. Now, that usually gets a lot of people angry at me because they think I'm some type of leftist for doing so. But I think it's important that we truly understand just how deceiving these times are, especially since in Matthew 24, Jesus tells us in a pretty big warning to take heed and do not be deceived. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Zach, the Wretched Watchman, and I'm bringing you a little bit of news when it comes to what's going on the deception and the illusion, the theater, the hypocrisy front of what's going on. Now, I'm usually not well liked when it comes to this type of content, just due to the fact that I continue to get called a leftist, and somehow, even though it's those words have never left my mouth, I'm saying vote for Biden and all that stuff. The thing is when it comes to the prophecy community, we've got all that stuff handled when it comes to pointing out what's going on the left. Everybody does a fantastic job when it comes to pointing that stuff out. I don't think my voice needs to get into that, even though I'm quite clear on my stance. I think the left is just as evil as the right, and the right's just as evil as the left, because they're two words of the same, or two wings of the same bird. But the thing is there's very few people that in the prophecy community that are actually pointing to the deception and the illusion of what's going on the right side. Now, I've talked about how the word conservative and the conservative movement of today is not conservative at all. Conservative is supposed to be based upon Christian principles, not just a movement that's anti-left. And that's what the conservative movement has become now. The people who talk about it and promote it and move that forward, most of them, I'm not going to say all of them, most of them don't hold Christian principles. And we have to make sure that we are truly understanding and going along with Christian and biblical principles above all else. Whether it's left, right, middle, doesn't matter. We need to stand for biblical principles. And so what we got coming out, and this is a video, but I'm not going to show the video because if you're eating lunch, I'm sure you don't want to bring that back up. But I will show you an image from the video. And this is coming from the, you would say, part of the conservative or right-wing account of Libs of TikTok, which they've, I think it's one woman who does it. She's done a good job of pointing this stuff out. But the video is about a transgender dude in a hospital bed being handed his newly born child. And the caption says, "This is child abuse." Now, I agree. It is child abuse. As we know, biblical principle, how God intends it, it's supposed to be a man and a woman in marriage. They procreate, and that is their child. That's how it's supposed to be. And this is not how it's supposed to go along with that. Now, adoption and all that stuff's great. There are kids who desperately need good parents, and so they go for adoption. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's not meant for transgender people. It's not meant for gay couples, men or women, doesn't matter. It's not meant for them. If it was meant for them, well, then they would procreate on their own. But God said it's not for you. So that's how it goes. Now, my point on this, and people don't lose the point here, the video and what the situation going on is absolutely horrific. I agree. But I want to show you something else. I don't know how many people are aware of Dave Rubin of the Rubin Report. Well, he and his husband, they decided that they were going to get 2 surrogate children for their gay marriage. And so this was back in March of 2022, as you can see, and they announced it, and they got a giant wave of support from people, including the Libs of TikTok. And my question is, what makes this different from this? Now, some people might say, well, that's a whole different thing because it's transgender. We've got a gay couple here. Do you think that the child is going to be raised up in the way of biblical principles? Do you think the child has any chance of actually being, or both of the children have any chance of being raised without getting that gay stuff injected into their lives and them growing up in that environment? I don't think so. While the transgender thing is horrific, the two gay married couple men getting children through surrogacy is also horrific and not good for the kid. But Libs of TikTok says this is child abuse, but apparently not this. Now, that comment has been deleted since then. Libs of TikTok has been under massive fire for being called out about the hypocrisy that they're under. Now, I want to show you a few other conservative talking heads. Some of them I'm sure you might recognize, some of them you may not. But this also has to do with the same announcement picture where we've got Blaze TV that's congratulating them on this. You've got Christina Pushaw, who's also congratulating them on this. There's more. We got, of course, Sarah Gonzalez there. Dave, congrats. I was just thinking about this and almost asked you on Friday. This is so exciting. Is it now? Megan Kelly, what? This is amazing news. So happy for you. There's a couple more. Christopher F. Rufio. You might not remember that guy, but he was actually the one who broke the news about Disney's not-so-secret gay agenda and how he's so against it. Well, here he is congratulating them on this. And then there's PragerU that's also congratulating them as well. Aren't these the same people that are going out there and trying to stand against all this stuff? Why are they congratulating this gay couple for adopting kids? Not just adopting kids, but paying for surrogacy to get their kids. This is what I mean by the fact of the conservative party is not conservative. It's not. It's an illusion of it. Conservatives are supposed to be based off of Christian principles, which these people are not. No, the fact is they realize that they have an opportunity to make their name in politics, in media, and make a boatload of money for promoting it to the conservatives, to the right wing, to the Christians, when ultimately they don't stand for any of it. I've talked about the same thing when it comes to Trump. Well, he's just not Biden, so that's good enough. Is it? Because he doesn't stand for any Christian principles, just like these people aren't standing for Christian principles, and they're talking out both sides of their mouth. I'm not here to, again, I often get said, so you're telling us to vote for Biden. I have never once told anybody to vote or not to vote. That is entirely up to you and what the Lord leads you to do. I'm simply here trying to make sure that everybody is informed, understands the theater that's being put on, understands the game being played, and how these people are playing you in order to bump their careers, in order to make as much money as they can, and feed into this political theater system that ultimately is rigged and controlled by the exact same group. Everybody involved is controlled by the exact same group. And I just want to make sure everybody's informed of what's going on, because I think there is a lack of information when it comes to things happening in our own camps and in our own circles, in our own arenas, in our own communities. Because again, all day long, hours on end, we will stand there and point Biden this, Obama that, ice cream this, and left that, Democrat this, and all that stuff. All the meanwhile, the ones on the right and the conservatives, the fake ones, are just eating us alive because nobody wants to call it out. We really need to understand that when Jesus said, "Take heed, do not be deceived," there's no little parenthesis thing that says "from the left" there. No, he means from the world. And that includes the right wing and the conservative parties as well, because they are using you just as much as the left is. But the thing is nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to admit it. Nobody wants to talk about it, because they understand if I say anything about our glorious right side, or could you imagine if I said anything bad about Trump? Well, people might not like me. Well, we're not here to make sure that people like us. We're here to make sure that people aren't getting swallowed whole by the wolves that are just running freely all across our churches and our Christian communities right now. It's ugly. And we need to be aware of what's going on. And the fact is these fake conservatives are using the right-wing news, pointing the fingers at the left to make sure you swallow it up. All the meanwhile, you are being deceived. Transgenders do not deserve children, and neither do gay couples, because that is not how God intends it to be. They are both horrific, and you can't stand against one without just standing against the other. That's not how it works. You need to stand against both. I know this wasn't exactly a fun one, but these things have got to get talked about. So, guys, we're in a spiritual war. This is a spiritual war, not against flesh and blood, not against left or right, but against principalities and darkness. We got to make sure that we don't have blinders on, or even just partial blinders. We got to make sure we understand the darkness that is truly flowing through the world right now in all areas of what we're involved in. And we got to make sure that we stand out, that we separate, that we're called the weirdos and the weird ones. And we're aware of things like this, because we cannot be deceived right now. Not when it comes to this. We can be deceived, but we should not be deceived. We need to make sure that we are really aware of everything that's going on. And at the same time, warn people of this. And of course, above all, get the gospel of Jesus Christ to as many people as we can. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I'm Zach, the Wretched Watchman. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out. Maranatha.